Hello there, my name's Mal Stone. I'm a photographer based down in Falmouth in Cornwall. Basically, I've been into photography for the last 30 years. When I was 18, I wanted to be an actor, but for some reason I wasn't good enough. I went to audition at drama school, and my uncle, who was an actor, said to me, "You've got an interest in photography, you might just get in through the back door." And through having an interest in photography, I put together a portfolio of photographs which enabled me to get into art school. At that point in time, one of my main influences was a photographer called Sir Cecil Beaton, whose work was very theatrical, and I really liked the photographs that he did of people like Marlene Dietrich. After his death, Vogue magazine put together a thing called the Vogue Beaton Award, and so I decided I was going to enter that, and I put together a whole set of photographs, entered it into the competition, came absolutely nowhere, but it gave me a portfolio of photographs that was enabled me to go to art school for an interview and gave me a place at Bournemouth and Poole College of Art and Design way back in 1982. If I would say one thing in life, if you ever want to be a photographer, don't do it the hard way that I did it. I would say take an apprenticeship after you leave art school and work as a photographic assistant. It gives you the insight into how the industry runs. It puts you in contact with all the contacts that a photographer has. For example, picture editors, art directors, everybody who hires photographers. When I first started in the industry, I was shooting on large format cameras, which is 5 inches by 4 inches sheet film. As things have progressed, obviously we're now living in the digital age, and digital photography has taken over from traditional film, and I've had to go that way. So how do you get started on a project brief? Well, these are quite wide and quite diverse, really. When I do things for myself, it's quite different than when I do it for a client. If I take on a particular project, or give you an example of a particular project that I did not that long ago, it involved doing some recruitment advertising for a company up in London. Basically, the company, can I name names? The company was called Capita, which is quite a big company. It was a recruitment advertisement for graduates leaving university and going into industry, and they had a art director who worked for an advertising agency that set the project brief. The way that project briefs work is that the client, i.e. Capita, would have agreed with the advertising agency exactly how they wanted their advertising to look, right down to page layout, what would appear there. In this case, it was an image of a person with a laptop computer in a totally empty office environment. It had to leave space for obviously the strap line and any other details that they needed, regarding information as to what the job was all about and so on and so forth. I spoke with the art director, and the art director said to me, right, okay, this is what we want, and we're going to have half a dozen people come down. We'll have a makeup artist come in who I arranged, and what will happen is that we'll shoot on a specific day, but we need a location. So we scoured London for a location. What we needed was a totally empty office suite, one that wasn't redundant, so it needed to look good. So really we needed a new one that was about to be taken on. And we scoured all over the place. We had a look at that place, the Gherkin, up at St Mary's Axe, but that wasn't finished properly. And in the end, we found a place on Red Lion Street in Holborn. Now, the only person we could find there was the site manager, and he agreed that we could do the photographs there. However, we could only do them on a Monday morning. We had to have £3 million worth of public liability insurance in case anything went wrong. And the reason we could only do it on a Monday morning was because there was only him around then, and the payment to do that was to give him £300 in used notes in a brown envelope. So we hustled the money together and we went down there with our models and everything and the makeup artists, so on and so forth, and we borrowed the place and we did the shoot, and it was a success. But I'm just pointing that out to show you that things aren't always as cut and dry as you might think they are, and you have to do a little bit of wheeling and dealing to get the job done. I'll give you top 3 tips. Firstly, whatever you do, follow your heart. Whatever you want to produce, go out and produce. Okay, there may be times when people, if you're doing it professionally, will call the shots, but there's no reason why you can't work a few of your own ideas in there. Secondly, don't be afraid to experiment. Experimental things are well worth doing. You know, experience is what we get when we're looking for something else, so don't be afraid to push the boundaries. And finally, my third tip is, when you look, be sure you see. Just what William Walling told me 25 years ago.